As a young kid, I was taught that vegetables were good for me, that I needed to eat them if I wanted to become big and strong, and that even if they taste bad or, like make you fart or uncomfortable, that you need to eat them in order to be a healthy, strong young man. Right? And I genuinely believe that for the longest time. Like I'm 17 now, and I believe that for 90% of my life, of my short life. And what I wasn't taught was that vegetables are actually a psyop and that they don't provide basically any nutrition, that they actually can block the absorption of nutrients, and they can actually have toxic chemicals on them and in them, like as a part of them, that harm you, and you can actually survive completely fine without them. I wasn't taught that, but I've learned that now, and so that's why I'm making this video. Is because I've been on a I've I should introduce myself first. My name is Keegan. I've been on a ketogenic carnivore diet, so basically like no plants, right? For about 7 months now. And even a few months before I went like full no plants, I cut out vegetables and I started feeling a lot better. And it's because I wasn't experiencing like all the negative crap that vegetables give you. And so I just want to make this video today, just kind of like the goal of this video is just to tell you that you shouldn't be compelled to eat vegetables, right? Like if you like vegetables and you want to eat them, like you think you like to eat carrots and you like to eat Brussels sprouts or you like to eat like potatoes or whatever, like I'm not here to like discourage you. I'm just here to, like, if you have been forced to eat vegetables for a while, like your parents or your mom or the freaking school system has said, "Oh, you need to eat your greens in order to grow big and strong." Well, I don't think that's correct. Okay? I've been growing big and strong completely fine without vegetables, right? like it like my life has been completely fine this past year without vegetables to a great degree. And so I just want to share my story with you, what I've learned, and just kind of tell you like you don't need to feel compelled to eat vegetables if you don't want to, right? If you're that one kid that doesn't like eating vegetables. But anyways, just telling you a little bit more about me. I started this diet, or I cut out vegetables like a year ago, right? And I started feeling a lot better. And the reason why is because I started hearing these people online talking about like the toxins in plants. And I thought that was really interesting. So I looked into it a little bit more, and I've learned about all these like toxins that occur in plants, and I was like, "Whoa, maybe I shouldn't be eating these things." And so I experimented and I removed them from my life. And like I said, I felt just way better. Just like I stopped feeling so like bloating, so much bloating, so much like abdominal discomfort. Like I used to get like really bad gas and just like gastric distress from all this like fibrous material that was like like tearing my guts apart, dude. It's terrible. Like I remember these times where I just be like just have like just this terrible like bloating in my stomach and just feel like oh for hours and hours and hours after eating food. And it's because I ate like a big bowl of broccoli or Brussels sprouts or even like potatoes or something like that. Just something that's like just like big and dense and fibrous that you just can't digest. Like something I've learned is like you can't digest fiber. And that's why it can cause like so much like gastric problems and like like clogs your clogs your freaking tubes, bro. It's not good. It just sucks. And it also causes a ton of gas because it builds up like these like bacteria that ferments the fiber, and basically like it starts rotting in your colon, and that's why you build up a ton of gas. I remember this one time I was sitting in my biology class. It's kind of embarrassing, but I had eaten like a crap ton of broccoli the night before, and my stomach was just feeling like really awful. And I was like speaking to my acquaintances in biology class, right? They're not really like, I don't really speak to them now, but I spoke to those guys basically every day in biology class, and I just ripped a fat one, dude. Ripped a fat fart, dude. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it was bad. And the dude sitting across from me, not in the greatest place, right? But I still talk to him whenever. Kind of funny, right? And he was like, dude, what's wrong with you? He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? And so he like pulled out his vape and then just started like blowing gas at me. I was like, what? That's a weird story, but yeah, it was that bad. The dude had to pull out his vape and just kind of like disperse it with his own weird odor. That's such a weird story, bro. I don't know why I'm saying that. But yeah, a lot of gas, a lot of gastric discomfort that it caused me, and that went away whenever I stopped eating nearly as many vegetables. And yeah, the second point that I've written down here is like you can't break down fiber. So yeah, something that I've learned, again, you can't break down fiber because it's cellulose, I think is the structure is what it's called, is like fiber. And in our stomach, in our small intestine, where we like actually like break things down and absorb things, there isn't an enzyme, which is kind of like the proteins that we have to break things down, to like chop them up into little pieces so we can like absorb them. We don't have like a cellulase, an enzyme to actually break that down. So we literally like can't digest it. But what it also does is it'll form like this mesh, this like gel that blocks the absorption of other nutrients. So I think this is why a lot of people will push fiber nowadays, is because, most people eat like crap, ultra tasty food, which, fair enough, it's ultra tasty, but this food is unhealthy, right? But if you eat fiber with it, you'll block the absorption of unhealthy food, which for people who are eating unhealthy food, that's probably a good thing, right? To block the absorption of that, of like excessive sugar and whatnot. It doesn't block everything, obviously, because if you ate fiber and then like people would be dying if that was the case, but it blocks some of it, right? So you basically get like less nutrition from the food that you eat whenever you eat fiber, right? And that, like I was saying, that's good in my opinion if you're eating like crap food. And so if I was eating like crap food, I'd probably want to eat more vegetables so I'm absorbing less of that and just like pooping it out, whatever. But I've cut out a majority of the crap in my diet. Actually, I've cut out all of the crap in my diet. I only eat meat, right? I'm on a ketogenic carnivore diet, right? I eat meat and eggs, bro. Like what is wrong with that? Like there's no extra sugar, there's no preservatives, there's nothing hidden in that. It's like 3 ingredients that I eat, dude. So just eating vegetables is kind of pointless for me at that point because it's just blocking the nutrition that I get from that food. At least in my opinion, right? Like I don't really, yeah, like I just don't think that's a good idea, right? So I'm basically like getting negative nutrition from any vegetables that I do end up consuming, which is just like not worth it for me if I want to be at my best self, at least in my opinion. But yeah, the next thing as to why I think vegetables are a psyop is, like I said before in the story, is I've learned that these plants have a crap ton of defense chemicals in them. I remember hearing a stat that's like in like Brussels sprouts alone, there's a crazy amount of carcinogens in them. And yes, I've heard that you can like prepare it and cook the things down and get them out. And I've also heard of this argument for eating like plants that have the defense chemicals because it'll stimulate like hormesis, right? Which is, from what I understand, it's basically like you adapt to a stressor in your, so like sauna can induce hormesis because it's like a moderate stressor, and you can get like more used to the heat or whatever, right? And I think for some things that's probably a good thing, but if you like really think about it, at least this is the way I'm thinking about it, is like you're still ingesting some level of toxin into your body, right? And I think I was researching this the other day, is like in order for hormesis to work in like a certain degree without having like a negative side effect, it needs to be like a very small amount to where you get like the maximum return. But you don't know how much you're getting necessarily per plant that you're eating. Like if you're just eating normally and you're not autistically tracking like, oh, this amount of this phytochemical will induce this amount of hormesis in my, like, it's different for everyone. Like I don't think you can really like prescribe an amount of X thing for someone to get a good hormetic effect to live a longer and healthier life. And also, like, I'm pretty sure not all of the toxins in them, like the carcinogens, I'm pretty sure not all of them are going to be hormetic to where you actually get like a beneficial result, right? And yes, you can build up a tolerance. Like people build up spice tolerances, people build up tolerances to how much fiber they can consume. But that's a tolerance, right? That's like telling people, oh, you should drink more alcohol because then you can build up a tolerance to it. Yeah, but here's the thing, like alcohol is literally poison, bro. Like it's literally fucking poison. So whenever you, like, you could literally just cut that out of your life and live a better life from it. So you don't have to experience the negative side effects, right? Like a fatty liver or excessive calorie consumption or just like being sedated. You can avoid all of that by just not fucking drinking it, right? Like you can avoid not being inflamed by just not eating the freaking vegetables because they don't want you to eat them anyways. So just cut them out. At least that's the way I see it, right? Like again, if you want to eat them for like flavor or whatever, that's cool. It's just like just understand that these plants have toxins in them for a reason because plants, they can't move, they can't run away from you like a pig or a cow can or a deer, right? Like they can't run away from you or stab you with their antlers or tusks, right? Like they can't fight back. So they just sit there and they poison you for they penalize you for trying to eat them, right? Like think about just about any other plant in the kingdom, right? Like I don't think I can go out and eat whatever like berry I see out in the wild. Like if you just use common sense, then like you just know you probably can't eat 99% of the plants outside. So who's to say that the plants that you can eat are necessarily safe? Like that's the way I'm trying to view this, is like there's going to be some sort of negative side effect to these plants because they have to defend themselves somehow, right? It doesn't make sense. Like if they could get up and run away, then like okay, but they wouldn't be a plant then, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's just my view on that. But yeah, another reason why I think they're a psyop is, I kind of said this before again, but I've survived completely fine. I've not eaten a vegetable like intentionally for the past year. There have been times where, my mom would make like a roast or something like that, and she'd like chop up some onions and garlic that would go into it, and cool, right? A little bit of like extra flavor. I'm not super like autistic and like I'm not super like specific on it, like, oh, I need to have like absolutely nothing, right? Like if my mom makes food, I'm gonna eat it, at least most of it anyways. I'm not gonna eat like sugary or intentionally eat the vegetable. Like I'll still try and scrape it off, but if a little bit gets in, like I'm not super concerned about it. So I just try and avoid it, but if it slips in, I'm not super concerned about it, if that makes sense. I'm not super 100% strict on that. But besides those little bits and pieces that have slipped into my diet, I've eaten basically no vegetables whatsoever. Yeah, like for a year. And I feel great because of it. And the funny thing is whenever those little things do slip in, like the garlic or the spices or the little bit of onion or whatever, I can feel it, dude. It's so weird. I can feel it, like in my stomach. Garlic makes me so freaking gassy, dude. Like they say it's good for your gut microbiome. I don't know what makes you gassy is good for your gut, but whatever, man. If that's what they want to say. I just find it makes me super gassy, and I just like fart a crap ton. Even if I have like a little bit of garlic, it just like lights up my freaking digestive tract. And so I just like, that's why I try it and avoid it. But I've survived completely fine without them for a whole year. Even though I've had people like in my ear telling me, what, maybe you're missing something. You're going to die. Oh, whoa, whoa, no vegetables. Oh my God. Like they seem so concerned. But I just feel so much better without this stuff. And again, I've survived this long without it. I just don't think it's necessary whatsoever. And I get it, like humans are pretty resilient. Like I've heard some arguments saying that, back in the day whenever people ate a lot of meat, they only survived to 35. Like, okay, whatever. But that's like average life expectancy. And you also had a huge chance of dying whenever you're super young anyways. But I'm just kind of like ranting on at this point. But yeah, it's like I've survived this long, and I reckon that I will survive quite a bit longer, actually, by not eating vegetables and freaking poisoning myself constantly. Yeah. Overall, those are the reasons why I think vegetables are a psyop. That's why I think that they're useless. I don't really like to eat them. Maybe in the future I'll go back to eating like carrots or something. I think that's like the only like pleasurable vegetable that I actually liked eating was like a good carrot that was like cooked. I can't really think of any other vegetables that I really enjoyed. I mean, yeah, like maybe potatoes, but that was with like salt and butter and whatnot. So not even that, dude. Like honestly, it's like the only vegetable I ever liked was like carrots, bro. I'll be honest, dude. um, but yeah, like my main point with this video, like I was saying in the beginning, is like you shouldn't feel compelled to eat them, and I hope that I've kind of conveyed that message to you with like they have toxins, they don't really have any nutrients in them that you can absorb anyways, and yeah, but like if you like them and you eat mostly unprocessed foods, like you're balling out. I'll be completely honest. Like if you're eating high protein, decent amount of fat, low carbohydrate, I think you're balling out, to be honest. Like you don't have to go like super strict or anything. As long as you're eating like a majority clean diet and you're not overeating a crap ton of sugar or, yeah, I think that's mostly the problem is like sugar and whatnot. Like I think there's a lot worse things that you could be eating than vegetables. I just don't want you to feel compelled to eat them, right? But if you're still eating Twinkies, if you're still eating like junk food, I would say still get to a point where you're eating just real food, and then you can stop eating vegetables, right? Because it's like I think it's like an easy cope, honestly, to be like, oh, but vegetables have like these toxins in them and they're so bad for you. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of true, but if you're still eating Twinkies, like you have another level to go to, right? Like I've not eaten junk food in 7 months, right? Like 7 months I've been clean, right? I've not eaten anything, like I've not had like any weird candy bar or anything like that, right? I'm to a level now to where it's like, okay, I'm good, right? But before then, if I was still eating junk food and I would say, oh, but vegetables, they're but vegetables, they got like toxins in them. I'm not gonna eat them. But I'm still eat like it's hypocritical to say that, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think that's what qualifies me to say it anyway. It's just like I've been eating a carnivore diet for 7 months now, and I feel great because of it. And that's why I think vegetables are not necessary, right? But yeah, I think it's better. Like if you were to eat vegetables, it's better than chowing down on Cheetos. Is what I have written down. But for me personally, I'm not gonna go out of my way to pursue eating vegetables. I don't think that they're as they're not as good as people chop them up to be, if that makes sense. Is that the phrase, chop them up? I don't know. They're not as they're overrated. That's a good way. Overrated. Vegetables are overrated. But yeah, that's what I think. If you agree with me, then you should go subscribe. Or if you don't agree with me, you should also go subscribe. Yeah, if you like what I'm saying, you should go subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, like the video, share, watch all my other videos. Yes, you should do that. And yeah, if this video has kind of taught you anything or maybe inspired you to try quitting vegetables or just eat cleaner in general, then I think that's a win in my books. Again, this isn't to like really discourage you, I guess, but it's just kind of to make you feel like you aren't compelled to eat vegetables like I used to be. So yeah, I hope this video's been helpful, and maybe you'll try out the carnivore diet. I think it's been so beneficial in my life, and if it can help other people, then I would really think that that'd just be awesome if I could inspire someone else to maybe to even just experiment in their own lives and to experiment with a different way of eating that makes them feel great. That'd be freaking awesome. So yeah, if you made it this far, you're like top 1% attention span. I respect that, dude. That's freaking awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Be better and have a W day.